The Whiskey Brothers podcast is intended for an adult listening audience. If you find yourself easily offended, I guarantee this will do it.
They don't want no problems. Nah.
From Houston, Texas, the Whiskey Brothers podcast starts now.
Welcome to episode 756 of the Whiskey Brothers podcast. We are your cast as always, actually, here lately. Slade, Rob, Trey.
Yeah.
Nonsense in the middle of me and Rob trying to give you the better version of... I'm just messing with this. And Paul Odo, who is in the house. Always a pleasure to have. On social, at Paul Odo, O-D-D-O, if you're looking for that. You have been a constant friend of the Whiskey Brothers for as far back as Houston comedy goes.
Very happy to be.
And been around, in fact, before the Whiskey Brothers even. You are in town because we are taking off, we are currently... in Europe on tour, but you stopped in to do your one-man show.
Yeah, that's what I'm
a little
working on
bit
right now.
before we took off. Called what?
Elsa.
Yeah,
and that's that's kind of a deep part of the story. It's the name of my childhood dog. When I was like my dad's dog, which relates to the story. But the story's all about
not that girl from Frozen.
No, and I never watched that, which is it's funny.
It's good, man.
It's funny.
The songs are catchy.
People keep saying it's like, is this about your Frozen obsession? It's like, I think this is about your Frozen obsession. I don't even know about that, but you know, it was a floppy-eared brown Doberman that we had when I was a little kid. It was a real smart dog, and it would we had a pool when I was little, and the dog would like always walk between me and the pool. There's like home video of us like when I was in diapers, and it would like grab
like
me,
a shepherd to make sure.
It would like grab me by the diapers and like pull me back away from the water and shit. Real intelligent animal, and it was like part.
Where were your parents while you were almost falling in the pool every day?
Being drunk in the early '80s.
Shit, okay.
But my dad fucking loved this dog so much.
Well, yeah, he allowed him to be a drunk parent with an undrowned child.
And the thing is when the dog died, he was like, I will never love another animal as long as I live. Pets are emotional time bombs waiting to go off.
Yeah.
It's just future pain. It'll hurt you. I was like, okay, well, I'm 8. I'll keep this forever. So that's kind of like a part of the through line of this whole thing, because it's about, the show is about it's about what happened to me in the past, basically 10-ish years, but it's like about love and loss and processing like the temporary nature of things, and it's a very sensitive
but it's stand-up comedy
thing. It is comedic in parts, but it's also very deep in a lot of other ones. It's like something I've never done before and would be described as weak in many circles. But it's just a thing that I'm like,
you brought that bullshit to Houston, Texas.
It's gonna be interesting.
I'm a fan of that. I've said this frequently, and Rob, we promise we won't turn this into craft. But
I want to know about
there has to be some evolution. There has to be just doing straight stand up in this day and age is only going to get you so far. You have to be willing to venture, I think, as a stand up comic, into at least other emotional mediums of some sort.
100%. Well, that's a big thing for me too. Because
Trey, you just want to tell jokes for the rest of your life.
It's not like that, but that touchy shit, bro. I'm not lying. I'm gonna go. If you make me cry, it's gonna be a fucking problem.
I will.
If he makes you cry, it's your weakness. That's
no, it's not. It's you fucking with my weakness and cranking that shit up like it's a hit. I don't like that.
That's what it is. I told my this one dude that I know from high school. He reached out to me on Facebook. He's like, I'm gonna be at the show. It better be good if I'm gonna miss the World Series for it. And I was like, that's funny, but if you have any conflict whatsoever, don't come to the show. I was like, do not. And he was like, I'm just fucking with you. I was like, seriously, I don't want to be like,
but also don't come.
It's like, I'd love to have you, but it's not going to be straight stand up, because it's just, and I try to explain that too up front. It's like, I do stand up. I love stand up. I will always do stand up.
You're naturally funny. Even when you're serious, there's an element of, how to craft a sentence.
I appreciate that. I got a really good compliment from a friend of mine in LA. He said, like, you're the funny Hannah Gatsby.
That's wow.
Oh God,
that's perfect.
Well,
but that's not inaccurate. I think in a certain way, it's the stuff about her special that I thought was good. You just also have comedy.
That's what I'm hoping for. It's like,
she lacked, and I
may have to talk to you about this off the air. But I also,
that idea.
Yeah, are you doing multi? Because I'm working on a thing kind of like sort of that.
Let's watch Rob try to tiptoe through without saying anything.
Well, I mean, I don't mind. It's I'm working on
figuring it out as I go.
Yeah, it's not it's the thing I've got, and maybe you're similar, but it's not a stand up. but I'm doing a thing about Richard Nixon.
Fucking A.
Yeah, but it's the same kind of thing where I talk about
between stand-up comedy and TED Talk.
And it's almost like a presentation.
Well, it's an interesting thing because doing this, like, I did it in New York already, and I've clearly already done it in Houston. It was a wild success.
Oh, absolutely.
So
many people were there. And that asshole didn't even show up.
Oh, man.
God.
And Trey cried and cried.
Tears. Crocodile tears. They went down his back. Have you seen those eyes?
Yeah.
Look at that.
The weird thing about it is, like,
I'm just fucking with you.
it enables people to drop their guard a little bit as an audience and be like, oh, okay. It's not like a fight in the same way that stand-up can be a fight. Because people are just like, oh, well, I'm interested in seeing something different.
What's
and what is I'm like, my patience is a little longer, and that's what I'm. Because here's the thing, like, I know what I am. I'm a fucking straight white guy with a beard. I'm bald. I look like every other fucking dude trying to do this.
By the way, fuck you.
And it is what it is,
Right.
and that's
So
what
you look like most of the people at this table.
but that's the thing. It's like I go to a comedy club in New York, and they're like, "We got enough of you." And I can't even argue with it. I'm just like, fair enough. And so it's like, if you gave me a shot and listened to my jokes, you might think differently. But how am I? I'm not a fucking. I'm not
cut
an
through the
aggressive
noise.
dick.
Right.
Like when it comes to that shit, I like to just let my shit speak for itself and do it. But that's also being a goddamn baby when you really boil it down. So you got to find another way around to like get something going on. So people have kind of welcomed this, so I'm doing it. Plus, it's the only thing I can think about right now. Yeah. And that's the other thing.
That's a good sign. That's a good sign.
When I came up with this idea, this is because I was like, I'm done with stand up, right? I'm just bored with it, and I want to do
you're a performer.
Rob's retired from stand up, with the exception of like 2 or 3 gigs a month. He doesn't do stand up anymore.
If the money's right, I will fucking do it. I've said it. You got the money, I will fucking do it. But I don't go out of my way to do it, and I don't enjoy it as much.
That's a better way to like it.
Yeah, but doing this thing I've been writing, I find it's in craft. Fuck off.
Tell me the backstory on this when you're
I'm
done.
not saying anything. I'm letting the audience yell at you.
It's finding the way to use the tropes and the skills of stand-up comedy to do something else.
Yeah.
To do it in a different way. And I find it's more interesting.
Well, here's I agree. The funny thing about like stand-up, as stand-ups, we don't see it the way everybody else does.
Yeah.
Like the way everybody else sees stand-up is this disposable thing that basically anybody could do if the other parts of their career don't work
100%.
out.
100%.
But we look at it as like this fucking total art form.
I had an oil and gas guy that I just know casually in the real world. Sent a message to me the other day telling me he went up for the first time and all his friends thought he had it. Like they were like, they said they really saw and like, and I don't know what the purpose of sending the message to me was.
Right.
But there was some sort of equivalency between what he had done that night at that karaoke bar and what I do for a living.
But people don't get it.
But there was no perceptual difference whatsoever.
No, people
in
don't.
his mind,
and that's also a sign of you doing it very well because
it looks like anybody could do it.
That's the thing. When you do it right, it looks like it's
You're just
there's
a dude
nothing that
talking.
goes into it.
Right.
And that's what's so strange about it. It's like nobody thinks it's hard because you fucking put a lot of work into making it look like there's no work that goes into it at all.
But the reality of the fact that you get up there and you create an environment, stand up is insane in its conceptually.
It's a totally crazy thing to try to do for a living.
Stranger is able to get up in front of 300 other strangers, and those people listen to what that person is saying for an hour. Makes no sense in any environment.
I mean, it's a very old thing, but not in the like purely comedic sense. Like that, like fucking Dave Attell or somebody. When you watch somebody like that, you're like, what are you even doing? Like you're just crushing. Like every 15 seconds, it's just like, and then you get on this weird like wave of laughter. And you're like, I can't stop laughing, and I don't even know if I thought the last thing.
I don't even know what's happening here.
And you're just like,
am I being tickled?
Yeah,
what is
yeah, and it is a kind of like hypnosis on a crowd.
Yep.
You know, but and it's really fucking special. Like, but I want to know what this craft thing you guys keep. I feel like you're going to hit a buzzer every time.
I have a question, if I can ask.
Please.
So the doing it well, like you're doing it well when a person sees it.
And thinks I can do that.
And I can do it.
Yeah.
Is that what blackness has become?
What?
Possibly.
Like, we got a lot of black people doing it. Like, are we doing it so well? Or are we doing it bad? Because I see a lot of...
we still talking about
comedy or just being black?
I was just trying to... I was being black.
Okay.
We've gone so long without a joke we didn't recognize
like,
it.
Maybe that is. Maybe it is just. Oh, you mean just like the.
Like when you look at me, do you go, I could be black? Or you like, ooh, that shit look hard? Like, does it look difficult?
I don't. I'm gonna have to choose door number 3.
Yeah.
You look at what
You told me I wasn't allowed to play, therefore I have no
I'm
opinion.
just trying to find somebody else.
Like, yeah, you walk around, you go, hey, you know, how hard is it to be black? Come on, I mean,
really?
we've already done with the Jim Crow shit. So now if you just became black instantly, I could probably handle it.
bring my tax return back.
That also is such a crazy question. You feel like the answer would be equally nuts. Like, how hard is it to be black? It's like 7.
It's like a 7. Sometimes a strong 8 with strong 8, depending on the neighborhood.
And you're like out of purple. Okay, yeah, that's perfect. That's
Fair enough.
Absolutely
I
makes
will
sense.
enter this into the census.
Yeah. On a scale of 1 to 10, how hard is it to be black?
No, you can't do a scale.
No.
That's a crazy question.
Yeah, if you do a scale, yeah.
Yeah. Between 2 and wooden. How difficult is it to be African American?
I'm going to say orange.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Good answer.
We were looking for purple,
Yeah.
but orange works.
But we'll also accept round.
Well, as a white person, I chose orange because nothing rhymes with it.
Go. And you can't be offended because of that.
Do me a favor, raise your glass. Anybody still have one, or am I the only one
I
that
think
sat
you
on
might be
his?
the last of them.
We'll get you another one. If you want to send us a bottle, do it. Email us podcast@praisewhiskey.com. You can also just send that message via Facebook. One of us is always checking it. If you're part of the Patreon, you have access to our Instagram account that basically no one can see but the Patreon people. And you
cool.
Patreon folks, we know and love you more than all the rest. So cheers to that. We're coming right back with more Whiskey Brothers podcast in a moment.
Question? Comment? Just need to vent? Email us at podcast@praisewhiskey.com.
Welcome back to the vaultsoflore.com studios.
Vaultsoflore.com.
Vaults of Lore. That is a website. That website will take you over to One Man Mike's big world building project. You can go over there. You can check things out. You can see what he's up to. You can read the story. You can get some updates, a little bit of a teaser. But I always encourage you, man, reach out to the authors. It's if you're interested in what they're doing, ask them for updates.
I'm super interested in that. I want to check it out.
Very, very cool. Mike is he's one of our Patreon members. You can you can't do it right now because the studio sponsorship is taken, obviously. I assume it is. I'm just giving you're getting November, Mike, whether you paid for it or not.
No, it's cool. We were talking. I mean, I have my podcast, and I recently got on Patreon too.
So do you do rewards? We're very. I'm admittedly, I'm talking to you people right now, specifically some of you bottle sending saviors and the people just that have spent a little bit of money with you guys. We were talking off air about how vital that is, and it sounds like we're doing some weird telethon-y thing here, and we're not.
Well, it's the reality of what this is.
I'm fascinated by it's a business model now. Like 20, 30 years ago, if you were a performer, you had to get booked in a venue or you had to busk on the street. Those were really the two options.
Well, this is the natural, organic way things are working out.
Isn't it the way? Is it sort of a play on how? Because like back in the day, if you were like a sculptor or some shit, you lived in a rich dude's attic, and that dude just made you
That goofy
You like
sculpt.
sculptor? That is the dumbest shit in museums. I'm not lying.
Why?
Just put the paintings up, bro. I don't need to see that you took a fucking a safety pin. Or they do that shit. you see how they be sculpting?
Hey,
They have like a hammer.
they didn't escape from Shawshank. They fucking made a statue.
They had chisels and hammers.
All that
and
goofy shit,
You're not
right?
impressed when someone makes something when someone
No.
creates a three-dimensional representation of something else in life.
I hate them statues outside. I know Elijah One. I didn't see him. I don't need to fucking see.
What about the Statue of Liberty? What about ones that
That's
represent things? What about?
that has to be the dumbest statue, right?
Okay,
The Statue of
No,
Liberty.
it doesn't. But I'll listen.
it's a.
You don't think?
If you
Why? Why would it be the dumbest statue?
I don't understand her. Like I don't get why.
why she's
It's a she, right?
yes.
Yeah.
French.
Who is that?
It's a
Who's the lady?
It is a representation of liberty
Go ahead.
in the new world.
Liberty's green.
No, actually,
no, copper is green once it's
the copper
oxidized.
Yeah, it used to be brown.
Brown.
Yeah.
Black lady.
Much like America. Was brown, now it's all
Nah,
about the
very
green.
green. Very green.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know, but
I'm sorry I don't like statues.
sculptures is dumb.
Sculptures.
No, you know what? Statues is fly. But you when I picture sculptures,
That's
I
the
just
name
picture
of the
that.
episode.
Statues are fly?
No,
Yeah.
statues is fly.
Statues is
statues.
fly. But I don't fucking know. Okay, so
What's the difference between a statue and a sculpture?
To me, it's a huge difference. A statue is worth being looked at.
No, see,
And
I
a
would argue the
sculpture
other
is
way.
some bullshit.
I would
It's-
argue the other way. A statue feels like something you could just pour in a mold
Right.
and make.
Yeah.
Oh,
A sculpture
Jesus
feels like something you artistically created.
But a statue
hate
is
sculptures.
also a sculpture.
I get what you're saying,
All right.
but it's a huge difference.
Well, I didn't
I
expect
know
to
what
have
you
this
mean
fight
by
today.
that,
But you're wrong.
but whatever the
You
fuck.
make my
A
brain.
sculpture is you're saying a statue is a sculpture.
A statue is a sculpture.
No, that's why they got two different names, jackass. Are you not hearing that? Are you hearing you right now,
statue is
Paul?
based on a sculpture
I don't wanna
that
hear
they
this
made a
based
mold
on
of.
shit.
Somebody had to sculpt that thing so that they could make a mold of it
It's
to
based
make the
on
statue.
like
Also a
like
statue-
plant-based burgers. It's not a burger, bro. A burger got cow disease in it. Cow arteries, cow shit flowing through it. Plant-based, you bullshit.
I feel like I'm arguing
It's the
with
same
the comments
thing
on a
with sculpture
YouTube
and
video.
I think you're right.
Sculpture and statue. Oh, it's based upon a sculpture. Then you finna get in here with all
What
this
about a
little-
statue devoted to burgers? How about that? Would that be?
Then you finna start with your magical science. He was finna define some shit.
Please just let that line be heard. As long as it wasn't stepped on. I feel like I'm arguing with the comment section of a YouTube video.
It's just mayhem.
That's what he sounded like since I met him.
Yeah.
Oh,
like-
you put order to my chaos, Paul.
Well, I'm sorry you have strong feelings in that
What
way
was you
about.
saying? I didn't
I've never
understand.
heard anyone have this much passion about statue versus sculpture.
Against. I've heard people argue passionately for.
It's also weird because I don't really care about statues or sculptures particularly.
I've never taken a inventory
There are
of
people
my
in art
emotional.
schools who are not this passionate.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe you should have been a sculptor. I bet you come up with some
I
cool
would-
shit.
No, you know what you should have been?
I drew fucking Spider-Man this weekend.
He did.
What
Hell
if you
no.
made it 3D?
He did draw Spider-Man this weekend.
Ain't pretty
It
good.
was fucking. I should put this on the Facebook page. It was art.
Paul, this one I'm not understanding
It's
about.
okay.
Go ahead, show them the shit so
Okay.
they can laugh.
I drew
real
mine,
hard.
and he drew the one above it.
All right. Well, that's Spidered Man.
Yes, it's-
Spidered Man.
No.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
very, very. No.
Yeah, that's-
You're not expected to be good at drawing. Don't worry about
Wait, were
it.
you saying that wasn't good?
Jesus.
I get what it is.
So bad.
Yeah. It's all right.
So bad.
Better than a lot of people could do.
Trey.
No.
Trey. All right.
And this is what you get for your Patreon dollars.
Trey will draw you. Trey, will you draw Spider-Man for everybody on our Patreon?
Yeah, they had to be $100 members for that to happen.
No.
I guess I'll draw another Spider-Man.
Fuck, for $100, I come preach at their church.
Yes.
There you go.
We should add some tiers, Rob. We should do. We should add you doing weddings.
Oh yeah, what are your tiers? Because
Very little.
Because I got a very little
It's all we
dick
did.
and also a Patreon. No, it's not like,
All we did was this. It's you get access to our Instagram page, which is awesome.
Right.
It's a lot of behind the scenes shit, and we all have access to it. So you get weird things from all of us on the road.
Nice.
Then you can
Nudes?
also get. Oh man, it's so many nudes.
Thank you, Rob.
Anybody who's part of it gets access to the entire back catalog, which
Cool.
is cool. There's like an additional 400 or 500 episodes that no one's ever heard.
Nice.
And then we don't do a lot of other stuff.
Yeah, it's hard to
And
figure out what would be valuable to people. It might be worth getting people to throw in suggestions. You don't have to take them.
I want to know what would be worth if you like
A fucking sculpture.
There you go. Or a statue.
Throwing a fucking sculpture.
Because for like to me, legitimately, I'm signed up for a bunch of like $1 and $5, not a bunch of
Oh, yeah?
fives, but like a handful,
Cool.
a few things that I actually do enjoy and
Cool.
I frequent. I
paying
feel,
it back, paying it forward, if you will.
It's out of a need for. I've just gotten a lot of free.
Oh,
shit.
dude, I've done it before too. I paid. I remember I gave. What was it? Fucking.
I'll give
Channel
$1 to an artist way before I'll give it to a homeless dude.
8. Yeah. Well, they're fucking being.
What, they're 10
honest
minutes
about the
away
whole
from each other.
Thing, sure. I remember I gave money to like public PBS one time.
Yeah.
Fucking 15 years ago, I had to legitimately tell them. After a while, I said, if you call me again, I'm going to call the police.
That's
Like, they were so crazy about harassing me for
because
more money
you're a
later.
qualified lead.
I was like, dude, I just wanted to help out, and you're bugging the shit out of me now.
Yeah.
So there's a fine line between, obviously being
and that's
annoying.
that's what I think is the cool part about some of the crowdfunding sort of stuff is that it's not a database.
Yeah.
It's not I don't give a fuck.
No,
I
it's
can't even
honest.
remember to.
It's one-to-one,
Say-
peer-to-peer.
Yes.
Yeah, you see
Right.
where your money goes. You get the thing. Even just giving people a shout-out is like, oh, look, I'm fucking giving
Which
you a
we
couple
try to
bucks.
do, and that's the thing. It's just it's so unbelievably hard.
Oh, yeah. Right.
It's a lot to maintain. Like you need a full-time person to manage
Without a doubt.
the people that are supportive.
Yeah,
like
especially when you get more and more.
that's our new stretch goal. I think once we get to 1,000 a month, we're gonna hire someone just to handle
Then we'll be back to zero. We'll be paying them.
$1,000 a month.
yeah.
But it's
Spend
but
money
that's
to make money.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's that whole deal. But like mine is a weird podcast, Scientology, if I might plug it.
Yeah.
And it's
I'll beep that out.
It's just me. It's just me talking to myself for like 45 minutes, which I find super bizarre, but people seem to like. But I did a Patreon, but mine's all kind of like based on this very light goof on Scientology. So
that's hilarious.
so it's sort of like I'm treat it kind of like a cult.
Nice.
In a silly way.
Yeah.
Whereas like the people who donate money are
How much do I have to give
That's
you to
how
get
they
my?
always start.
Scientologists,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
somebody said I should call it. They should be called apologists because of how much I say I'm sorry, this is stupid, or whatever, But that type of thing.
Right.
But
You know
I
what?
have.
For the upper tier, you can have Saint Paulogists.
That's a good one too.
Oh,
I like that too.
Saint
Yeah.
apologists.
Yeah.
But my tiered structure is just like the beginning is that you get access to like these private RSS feed where I'll do like occasional like interviews
Yeah.
with people and like different episodes. But I wanted to
See,
do
we can
this.
barely get the amount of episodes we're supposed to out.
Right.
It's we're in here on an off night.
Yeah,
trying
right.
to cover.
Well, I was hoping actually, like, while we're in Europe, which we are right now, this
Right.
is a just
Yeah,
time
we are.
traveling
So
situation. I was hoping to maybe do a couple of interviews, like with you and some of the other guys, just to
100%.
talk to backlog for the thing. Plus, we're in like a weird part of the world, so that's
Yeah.
interesting too.
100%.
But that kind of shit. And then I also want. I have this dream of doing these online, like streaming. Live things together.
Oh, yeah.
Where like get with people and fucking take a bunch of mushrooms together and just like talk
Dude.
like online with everybody.
I would love to do. I think that would be a cool reward tier to just do like a group, massive
Oh, yeah.
FaceTime
Hang.
Skype jam.
Sure.
Yeah, and
How many
have
people?
the show, but live amongst everybody.
Can we get? How do you do that? Do you get that? Do you get that meeting streaming software?
Must be.
from
There's something.
one of the corporations.
Yeah, it's got to be Meetup or that's a
Something
fucking-
like livemeeting.com.
Yeah. It's. I'm sure porn's doing it, and you always figure out what porn's
right.
doing.
Can we? How do we do it with the webcams? But where we
Dude,
can
just
see
set up
everybody.
B-cam girls.
We can, how is this? How is that not our streaming
Y'all
platform?
just do that.
You just tip every time Rob says cunt.
Yeah.
Trey
And it's
shows
just
his pussy. It's just
Dunk, dunk, dunk,
it's a-
dunk, 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 dunk.
Yeah. Show a nipple. All right, and we're gonna do a shot now, dude. Before you know it, you're all sucking each other's dicks, and it's not gay
Not
if
gay.
you do it twice.
Not gay.
And then you stop. You can get 2 dicks sucked.
2 dicks
and
in.
you're fine.
Could we do that? Could we stream on one of those platforms and they tip and then do you get real money or are they like Chuck E. Cheese
Hey,
tokens?
I imagine those girls are not super smart that are doing it. I'm just guessing.
That I have a shot.
You can probably figure it out. If this girl's making a living off of fucking licking her nipples and setting up a webcam,
I could probably wrap my brain
I
around
bet you
it.
could figure it out. You got a big
That hard.
system here with a fucking board and a computer. You got a drone you were flying earlier.
Yeah. This
You
can't
got the
be out of-
skills.
This isn't out of the realm of your understanding.
Yeah. You might be overqualified to be a cam boy.
Okay, totally fair. It's that simple. Rob put it together.
Yeah. There we are.
I'll just be my face looking. Is this on?
How about you ask the cam girls that you pay
Yes,
how they did it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to set up my own
I'll
cam
be back there.
situation.
Is that a boat that you got in the back of your shit?
No, don't get them started. Boats. What's that statue? Turn it off.
Turn the statue off. You gonna fuck up my flow.
Turn the statue off.
Are you against just large ones or all statues?
Ooh, that's a good question.
at,
what is your
at what
stance?
point does it annoy
Not
you?
really.
The big shit
No
annoying.
offense.
The big shit.
What is your view on voodoo dolls?
Voodoo, that shit real. I told you about that.
That's real.
Voodoo, no, it's not.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't fuck with a voodoo doll. I mean, no, the bigger the statue, it bothers me.
Okay.
Because it's almost like they
Colossus of Rhodes just showing off.
overcompensating
Yeah.
for something. The bigger the statue, the more dirt behind the more bullshit that's there.
Okay.
I don't know. That's what I
Fair.
So you know, little statues, no problem. I got a little.
No problem.
All right.
Action figure is
Just a little
fucking
statue. Made by a sculptor.
Son of a bitch. Here we go again.
Right? Where do you think those action
Motherfucker.
figures come
I
from?
wish y'all give up on this sculpture shit.
Yeah.
Not even.
But what do you? I mean,
Goes back to
you know how much?
Ozymandias.
Do you know
In
how
the
much
desert.
is sculpted?
I no. I get no.
7.
So much of what you
7. The answer is 7.
around.
Yeah.
Not a
The
lot
answer's
of.
round.
Oh God.
It's
I just
so
hate
much of what you
museum
use
sculptures.
in this. You understand? Like your eyeglasses were sculpted.
Oh God, is this another word for creative or some shit?
I do like how worked up you get about it. Like,
Are
like
you
you're
a
being
podcast
forced
sculptor?
to look at sculpture.
That what you do? You sculpt together podcasts every fucking week.
It could be said.
I got 2 statues of episodes waiting to go out.
No,
Right.
it's
What do you? I'm lost. So that means
Sculpting
you
is
can
the-
call every fucking creation a
no,
statue.
sculpting is the physical art of adding or I guess taking away material from something else to make a thing.
Jesus, fuck.
Physical thing. You can't. It's not drawing.
Like parenting.
it's not.
You're sculpting a mind.
Yeah, that's not
Sculpting
like
a young
parenting to
mind.
me.
or
Mind fucking. Oh, you name it. Yeah. There's several degrees of sculpting.
it's like having a child.
Yeah.
It's like having a child.
But how often do you have to go to the museum? People seem to make you go. Like the way that
Yes, and it's fucking annoying, Paul,
Get
because
these
that's the
sculptures
thing.
out of
I'm
here.
like, bro, I thought we was coming for the paintings. I just want to see. It should be just one way. Why the fuck I got to see all this other shit? You scrambling my brain up.
Man, I want to see you like
There-
arguing with one of the guys who works in the museum about this. Like, sir, I don't
Shit out of
know.
here, man.
Perhaps bring this to Yelp.
We was in one and they had a motherfucking a whole dress made out of like bottle caps.
Yeah.
Somebody did like a, and it was
Okay,
like, oh, it looks dope.
I think that's total
And
bullshit.
I wanted to take a bat and fucking smash it down. Like, hey, bro,
That's-
this dude worked hard as shit on this painting with his hands.
That's dumb. But Michelangelo sculpts the Pieta,
No,
and
you-
it's unfucking believable.
Wait a minute.
I don't want to
Wait
watch
a
a
minute.
dress made out of Lone
Wait a
Star
minute.
caps.
Did
Yeah.
you go see the Lego
went to-
fucking thing?
No.
Okay.
He went to the Modern Art Museum. It's a oh god.
You know what you would hate?
What?
This thing I do in virtual reality. I draw in virtual reality.
I have. Will you draw? I have mine here.
Yes.
Yes. I want you to do
It's
something.
so weird, but it's like 3D drawing.
yeah.
Oh, we're gonna play with this.
But you can print them out. There are places where you can take the files and send them to 3D printers, and they'll print it out.
So I just got whatever. I got whatever that one of those. Anyway,
I hate how interesting
all
y'all
worked
are.
out.
It's fucking making me angry with myself.
Trey, you should learn.
I wish
to
I was
sculpt.
into shit like that.
I'ma
I can't.
I'ma
I'm trying to balance 2 bitches
You're-
that I don't want no more.
Yep, I was about to say you're too busy with that.
Follow Paul at Paul Odo on Twitter or anywhere else on social media. Join our Patreon. You can also join Paul's. His podcast is Scientology.
Yes.
Very easy to find. Make sure to just slip his name in there when you're searching your favorite podcast app. Trey Tutts and Rob Mungle, my partners in crime as always. I'm flitting through Europe with Paul and Sam. We're going to have more episodes when we get back, but I hope you guys have enjoyed all of these that we've done thus far. What
The
else?
Vaults of Lore Studio.
Thank you so much. The Vaults
forgot
of
the
Lore.
.com.
And if I could just say,
.com.
if you're on the fence, donate to the Patreon. It means a lot more to these guys than they're going to tell you. They appreciate it, and they're too humble to say it. So I'm a guest, so I'll say it. All right.
Love you, Paul. Dots of lore. Dots of lore lost.com. Vaults of lore.
Thanks for having me.
.com. Thanks, Paul.
They don't want no problems. Nah.
Music provided by Scarface. Thank you for listening to yet another excellent episode of the Whiskey Brothers Podcast, the world's funniest podcast ever. The Whiskey Brothers Podcast was made in America by Americans, mostly in and around the Houston area. All content copyright the Whiskey Brothers. This concludes our broadcast day. Goodbye.